Man, who are you? No! No! Stop! Don't kill me! I'm sorry! Die!
Chris no longer lives. Only Afro Chete.
Alright guys, I hope y'all really enjoyed this video, and if y'all would like to help us and support us, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps us keep us motivated. And also, we have made a Patreon, so if you guys would like to become a patron, all you have to do is click the link down below and become one. There's all different kinds of prizes and rewards for different tiers of donating. So I would like to go ahead and thank our 4 Patreons so far. We have the Creative Duelist, we have the Card Hunters crew, we have Chris Bonelli, and my good friend Michael. Thank you guys all so much for supporting us, and if y'all would like to do the same, please click the link down below. What's up everybody in YuGiOh YouTube land? This is Jesse Byrne representing Team FTK, and today I'm joined with
Afro Chete. Basically, Afro Chete is just like a persona for me. And go ahead. And today, what we wanted to talk about is side decking cards, like certain side deck cards that we can use towards the meta at the moment.
Yeah, so if you guys don't know what side decking is, which I hope you do, it's basically you get 15 cards that you have like in another deck off to the side that you get to take out cards from your main deck and put in cards from your side decks. Depending on your matchups, you can like side in certain cards that will help you.
Yeah, and we got a couple side deck cards on the list that we want to talk about, excluding most of the generic hand traps like Ghost Ogre, Baylor, Ash, and we're going to keep Winter Cherries in it because that is a side deck card that most people are sleeping on. And basically what that can help is against a lot of decks like but the new Thunder Dragon deck, Spirals, and any other deck that you can utilize it against.
Yeah, you can use it a lot against like Goki because you can like banish their Firewall Dragon, and then you can use it against like some of the Sky Striker monsters, and then like even like Rogue Pendulum decks that are still running around with like 1 Electromite. Basically, just take that out of their extra deck and just fuck them over.
Yeah, and another side deck card I wanted to talk about was Dimensional Barrier. It's good against a lot of decks right now that's within the meta, especially Fusion, Synchro, and XYZ, which is BA's, Invoke, the Thunder Dragon deck that just got released, and also against Pelio. Because if you hit Pelios, they can't overlay into Totally Awesome and make that card the first turn.
Yeah, it's a really good card. It's really good for those type of decks. It sucks that it doesn't say Link on it, or that card would be like even more busted and we could still side in every single deck that we played against.
Yeah.
But the fact that you can also use it against like Pendulums, and you can use it against XYZs in case you like play against a random rogue player who's like gonna make Ophion against you, and then you're just like, haha, D-barrier, you know, call XYZs, you know, so.
And just shut them down for the whole turn. And another card is a sleeper card for a side deck is called Forbidden Apocrypha. Basically, it's made for XYZ infusions. Declare 1 extra deck monster card, Fusion, Synchro, or XYZ. If 2 or more monsters of the declared types are on the field, make each player send all monsters of that type from their field to the graveyard. And it doesn't target, it just sends in general, which is real good. Because if you're going against a Fusion player or Synchro or XYZ, you can just call the declared type almost like Dimensional Barrier, and they will just simply have to send that card to the graveyard.
Yeah, see, it's more like it's really good with dealing with already established boards, where D-barrier is more good for just shutting off plays immediately, where it's like, oh, you got Swamp Frog and you got Dupo in the field, you know, let me go ahead and just activate D-barrier, but this one is like, okay, you already have your Thunder Dragon set up, I'm going to go ahead and activate that, and then make you get rid of your monsters.
Yeah, and another card that came to our attention right after Niagara Falls was Book of Eclipse. Basically, you could just flip the board down and continue to make your plays and search and stuff like that and get over boss monsters. And for example, he was using it with Trickstars against Big beater monsters like Blue Eyes and stuff like that.
Yeah, because with tricksters, it's really hard to get over like huge boss monsters like Ultimate Conductor. So it's always been one of my favorite techs since I've been playing tricksters from like the very beginning. People used to main deck it in tricksters, but I find it like a really good side tech card because you can just flip everything down, and then if you need to, you can activate like Dark Hole because then they can't negate it. It won't be unaffected anymore if it's face down. Just straight destroy it. So like Book of Eclipse really works out well, and it's a badass card deck, side deck card.
And if you spam a lot, face down cards, basically you can target them and to destroy them, and Cerberus can target a special summon monster because the game mechanics recognize it as a special summon monster whether if it's face down or not. So you could make a quick link into Cerberus, discard a card, pop, and destroy it and get it out the way.
Yeah, and then also if you're playing tricksters like I am, then like if you have Lycris on field and you tag out, you can like, they'll take the burn damage when they draw, so that's always good.
Alright, go ahead.
And then another side deck card that I wanted to talk about was Rivalry of the Warlords and Gozen Match. They're both really good cards, like main decking them in like True Dracos and other decks like that, but you can side deck them in a lot of situations and decks where you normally wouldn't, like maybe like Trickstars you can main deck them in, but I personally like to side deck them.
Yeah. And like if you look at Sky Strikers, they got different type of attributes in the extra deck and different types of monsters like Machine, Warrior, and stuff like that. And basically, if you activate Gozen or Rivalry, when they tribute to activate the monster's effect to special from extra deck to link, you could just stop it right there, and they'll just have to pass turn because then they can't even special summon. Or when they activate Hornet Drum, you could chain the Hornet Drum, and they'll be stuck with the token on board, and it'll be in their main monster zone. So most of their spells and traps, like Widow Anchor, will be useless.
Yeah, and it's also really good against your Goki matchup because they'll play like a lot of darks nowadays to do the whole malicious play, and then they'll also play like Firewall and the Nightmares, and they can't go into those, and they'll be stuck with Warriors on the field, and not to mention they have all different attributes. So Gozen Match and Rivalry is just like really good against Gokis also.
And talking about Gokis, basically like when they have a big board, you can use Forbidden Chalice. I forgot to mention that. Forbidden Chalice is a good old tech card that we used to use back in the day, basically against like Fire Fist and stuff like that. Basically turn off the effects, so now they're no longer co-link, or you could just target Ibli and now her effects negated, she gains 400, you could go ahead and kaiju them or continue to spam the board or special summon, especially with Dangers out, and they have a lot of big beaters out, and the only way you will be able to special the Dangers is if you negate the Ibli's effect.
Yeah, Chalice has always been really good going first or second. It has a lot of utility because if your opponent has a monster that he's going to negate once per turn, you can just Chalice them and they basically have to negate it because they're already going to have their effects negated if they don't. Exactly. So it's good. And then also if you set it like going first and then your opponent like normal summons Candina or normal summons, you know, like Invoker, you can just activate the card and negate their effect.
And it's good even in battle phase when you're going against a Dino player and they have Conductor, you can just activate it against Conductor so he doesn't have to attack all your monsters, and you will still have a board established for next turn because they'll only attack one and probably most likely the defense monster that they already set. And it's a good card to sneak up on people with, you know what I'm saying?
And the next one that is not very versatile at all, that is just a straight up going second side deck card, is Evenly Matched. So what you want to do with Evenly Matched is you want to wait for your opponent to set up their board, get as much advantage as possible, and then you just want to banish everything except for one card. So you want to just like activate it, and then they have to banish to as much as you control, which will only be the Evenly Matched.
Yeah, and it's good against going second, like he said, because if people already have established boards, it just falls. Like the board completely falls, and they're left with one card, and now you have the upper hand, and you could just main phase 2, make a bigger board than what they had, and have a whole bunch of negates.
Yeah, and they basically waste all their resources, and then they all get sent face down when they're banished, which is really important, because then there's not very many cards out, excluding like Omega, that can get
banished face down cards back.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really good.
Yeah, and another sleeper card for side decking is Mind Crush. Not a lot of people know about Mind Crush or want to use Mind Crush because it's kind of slow. It's a trap card. You have to set it first. But Mind Crush is good if you're going first because a lot of people add these days. And most of the times people want to extend boards and add their extenders. Like Goki Rematch. You could just call Goki Rematch and have them discard. Then it helps get knowledge as well.
Yeah, Mind Crush has always been really good, and the fact that we're searching and searching even more is just all the more reason to play Mind Crush. But it is a little slow because our next choice, we'll get into it talking about it, is because like Twin Twister is running around.
Yeah.
And Twin Twister is really good nowadays, and it has been since its inception because you just discard a card, target 2 back row, and destroy them. It basically just wipes the board. People are starting to main deck them. People are siding them. So, Twin Twister.
Yeah, and Twin Twister is always going to be good because if you go first and you know they're playing field spells to get off searches and stuff, you could just set the Twin Twister and have a card in hand to discard and still utilize it in grave when it comes back to your turn. Like, for me, is BAs. You can utilize Twin Twisters in so many ways with BAs. You can activate Twin Twister, send Phoenix Rhino, get a effect from Phoenix Rhino, and continue your plays just like that. And it's good against Alter Guys, Pelios, basically anything that set heavy back row. And sometimes you want to be careful with the Waking the Dragon, my fault. But
yeah, because it's MST on steroids, basically.
Yeah.
So, like, you do want to be careful with Awakening the Dragon, which can be our next side deck card that we can talk about, is not a lot of people are going to expect it. Play Awakening the Dragon, and then you special summon a big monster from your extra deck.
Basically like Ultimate Falcon or the Last Warrior Standing, which basically both players can't special summon, they can only set monsters. And it's a real problematic card to get over if you can't even special summon or normal summon the monster that's higher than the attack.
And it's really fun and techy to play Awakening the Dragon. It's just like something that's going to throw off your opponent. It's about like playing artifacts where if your opponent tries to destroy your back row, you can disrupt them with a bigger monster or a monster that's going to stop them from making plays. And it's going to punish them for trying to destroy your back row.
Exactly, and like I love it because it punishes bad players, especially if people don't know that you're gonna side it in. You could just like screen smoke it, or basically take out a couple traps here and put it in, and they're like, oh, they're just running Pelios, and activate Twin Twister or MST or whatever card that pops the back row and fall directly into that trap.
Yep. So this was Jesse Byrne representing Team FTK with
Afro Chete.
Y'all make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos. Also make sure to follow us on Twitter now at TeamFTK_YuGiOh. And yeah, is there anything else you'd like to say?
I just want to say, make sure you hit that like button, leave us a comment underneath, and subscribe. And I want to appreciate all y'all fans for being with us from the beginning. And we're out.